Okay, this is my first attempt at a YouTube video, so let's see how it goes. So this video is just going to cover some setups that I see and how I've been trading recently and what kind of trades I've been looking at. So the market has been in a weird place. If we look at SPY or SPX, let's look at SPX. We kind of found the bottom around here. Let me unhide this. We kind of found the bottom. This was a key support. It's around 3,650, 3,650. That's where I had a good support, or 3,645. And we kind of breached it, and my initial understanding was that we would continue dropping. But however, we had this little rally up towards where we are right now, around the 3,800, 3,745 region. So a lot of us are interested in seeing where the market is going to go. My general understanding is that the Federal Reserve is probably going to take like a more long-term approach to this, so we won't drop as starkly as like any of us think, but most of us think, and I'm going to take a guess and say that this little bull rally will not. This isn't bottom. I don't think this is bottom, at least. I think we could we bounced off of this past low. This was around, this was June 2022 lows, but I think we could easily let's zoom out. Okay, let's go back around here. There's more historical supports around here. This is always a very strong historical support, and I think that since my understanding that since we breached it, we would see even lower lows. But if you go to 32.35, this low seems to be another strong support. It's been very consistent, a very consistent support, and I think that we will probably attempt that later this year, or very soon at least. Alright, so now that we understand why I'm more bearish than I am bullish in this market, and I'm, rather than looking for call entries and playing this bull rally, I'm looking for when to call top in this market, because I think that right now by playing calls, one, you are hoping that the market continues to rally in a recession based environment where it just seems like more gambly than I am willing to accept. I don't like to take positions where I feel like I'm going against the general longer term trend, which has, if we just zoom out, it's been downward. It's just consistently been downward. It's just been downward since what was this? Yeah, January 2022 was a high, and ever since then we've had these little rallies where we go up, but it's just been like we've been finding newer lows every time we go down. So until I have any, like, let's say in October, what CPI is on the 13th. Let's say on October 13th we see a green CPI print, and the market says, okay, it's time to turn itself around. Maybe I'll change my bias, but as of right now, at least for this next week, I am not buying this green. This green is just fake to me, and I'm not a fan of it. Alright, let's look through some tickers. So a ticker that I have been avoiding is Netflix. Netflix, if you look at Netflix, recently, up until, like, let's say from August 2022 up until October, the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA are kind of like dancing around with one another. That shows me indecision. So if I see indecision, I'm not one to play theta positions, but if I see something like this, I would really suggest playing a theta position on this high, so 207, 208, and the high, that's a low, the 208 low, and 250 high. That would be my theta position if I were to run one. But so I would never play a setup where the 200 EMA and 50 EMA on the 1 hour chart are close to each other. I play on the 1 hour now for swing trades. So if you look at another ticker, let's say, okay, Apple. I've been wanting to play Apple, and I'm waiting for an entry for Apple. Apple had a time where it was front running the market, and now it seems to be cooling off a little bit. Right now it's sitting around 144. I think we could see around 125 by the end of the year. Don't count me on that, but I am bearish on overall market, and I think Apple will be one of the tickers that goes down back to like IRA levels where people are just adding them to the IRAs. Another one that's like that I find is Microsoft. Microsoft is another long-term like boomer hold, well, like one would say. Right now, Microsoft is hitting the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA about to cross over. The 50 EMA is this orange line, the 200 EMA is this white line. So if this EMA crosses over and we get more bullish continuation on Microsoft, and let's take a look at Apple. For Apple, it's a little bit farther apart, you see. Microsoft is a little bit closer. And if we do get more bullish continuation, I am looking at 260 calls up all the way to around here, which is like 270 calls. Another ticker that I really am looking at right now, XLE. I know this looks like an... Let me hide these. Okay, my chart looks very messy on it, but so we see how we broke out of these 1-day resistances. Every single time that we have a breakout, we find newer highs, and this 50 EMA crossed over the 200 EMA. So when I get when I find a good entry or a buy indicator, I'm using this indicator right here. When I find a buy indicator or buy signal on XLE, I am going to be entering energy calls, but as of right now, I don't think energy continues. I think energy will also start to cool off as it has a crazy bull run over the last 4 days. Another ticker I really like right now, and I'm considering playing theta on it, but I don't want to play theta in right before CPI, is Snow. Snow is having a weird time right now. Snow is stuck in between this high range of 204, 205, and a low range around I wouldn't consider this a low. This was like really bad lows. I wouldn't consider this around here. This would be the lows, 165. So if Snow were to breach 165, and you see this wick, we tried 165 earlier and we got wicked hard off of it. That shows me that there's a lot of buyers in this general area. It's a very big support here, and I don't want to play into the support without confirmation. However, if we see a clean break of 165 and a hold of 165, I'm open to playing put side on Snow. I think it's one of the longer term positions that people do have in the IRAs and are willing to hold longer term, so that makes me opposed to playing put side on this. But I am also looking for a call entry on Snow. I think that we can easily go back around the 220 level, around high to 240. Those are very attainable by maybe like I play positions 1 month out, but 220 it's probably doable within a month or two if you play longer term positions. XBI, one of the best indicators for a risk on versus risk off market. Risk on meaning that people are willing to take more. People see more upside in the market than they do downside. So we had this area of just where the EMAs is kind of danced around, where we just kind of stalled out, and then we kind of, with the general market, we fell off a little, and right now today we crossed over. If I see a buy signal in any of these, and the bull run, if I see the bull run continuing, XBI is a very I don't want to say cheap ticker, but it's a ticker to keep on your watch list for sure. It's very good at indicating how like market is. It doesn't front run market like market runs, but it's very good at indicating whether money is inside of the market or whether big money is out of the market. I don't mean like Fed playing the market. I mean like whether people are willing to take a risk in the market, or whether they're not taking a risk in the market. Hence, risk on versus risk off. So the last three stocks I'm gonna be talking today. The last three tickers are gonna be AMD, QQQ, and Nvidia. They all kind of go hand in hand with one another. So AMD and Nvidia, they're both in Soxel. They're both semiconductor companies, and yo, they've been beaten up recently. So ever since Nvidia front ran earnings, they have not found a way to. They just have they've been not having a good time, and if I were one, I would say that Nvidia easily revisits 120 lows rather soon. Actually, we're at 127 right now, and AMD released earnings saying that they weren't good, and Intel has earnings coming up. I would take Nvidia short side positions in this market. I think it's very smart to play consistent drop downs. One, two, and right now we see another sell. I think we see the 120 levels. I think we see 110 rather soon. If we do break the low of 119.60 right here, I think that we could see even further downside to 112 within a few days, or maybe even 116 if you're willing to play it safer. Next ticker, AMD front ran earnings today. AMD front ran earnings today. They got wicked off. Up to the upside. I do not buy it. I think that tomorrow we're gonna test this 62.75 level, and we're probably gonna find it to break. And if we do break, I'm taking 55 puts. I'm taking 58 puts. Whatever positions I like. AMD is finding new there's no lows for AMD this low. And AMD, I know it's a longer term hold. I know a lot of people like AMD, but I am willing to say that AMD will be AMD has either front ran the market, or they've been they always have high volume. So I am willing to say that AMD has more downside to it, and I'm willing to say that it will go down to 55. 58 is to be safe, but 55 if you want to 55 is my target, but 58 is a position that I heavily favor for the put side. And the last ticker is QQQ. QQQ has been weaker than SPY. They've been pretty equal, but if you look at QQQ's chart, it definitely has more drawdown than SPY does. Tech has been having a hard time. And QQQ positions. So QQQ today, this is very interesting. This is one of the big plays that I have coming up. QQQ got wicked off of the 200 EMA. It did not like the 200 EMA at all. And yes, the 50 EMA hasn't been breached yet, but I am willing to say by tomorrow we see the 275 break, and if we break 275, let's look at levels. We break 275, we test 273. If we break 273, we're going down to 268. So if we go to 268 and we break 268, we form new lows. 251, then to 231, and those are positions that I really am favorable right now. I am bearish on the market right now. A lot of people aren't bearish. A lot of people see a few green days and say, oh yeah, the bull market backs on. I am not one of those people. If you don't agree with my bias, that's completely okay. I'm just giving you my 2 cents, and I think that the market still has a long way to go before it figures out how it wants to recover. And if you liked what I said in this video, please be sure to give me some feedback. This is my first time trying this. I'm trying something new. So, yeah, there's nothing much I have to say.